Other interesting cultural news, you have Fatcon, a festival coming to Philadelphia, which, of all the locations, seems pretty apt. Now, this was first reported on a magazine called Evie, or Evie magazine. And now, of course, this actually isn't a convention to help people improve themselves mentally and physically, to incentivize them to maybe get some exercise, eat a carrot. No, it's quite it's the antithesis. It's the opposite. And while we broach this subject, I should say it is sad and challenging. Some people do have legitimate medical problems or medications that do make it prohibitive to lose weight. Some people have some physical detriments that are of no fault of their own, and they do struggle with that. That is a thing. However, I see a big distinction between that and people who actually choose life decisions that lead to unhealthy sedentary lifestyles that are not cohesive to a long, fulfilling life. You'll die early. It's the number one preventable medical issue in the United States all relate to obesity. People can prevent it and live longer. Just eat a salad. Or hit the gym, or both, the duality. Now, it might not look like it because I'm all suited up, as men should always do. But I always try to make, I do make time to hit the gym, usually 4:30 to 6:30 in the morning. And I always tell people, if I could run a business and still hit the gym, anyone can do it. Literally anyone. There's nothing unique about me. I just work like hell. Now, going back to this article, getting back into the depths, which they're quite deep, of the article, it actually starts off by saying, quote, "Some people are not in love with their body every day, but this is the body that they exist in," unquote. And it's actually a quote from one of the event's organizers, which, you're in love with your body. Some people are not. There is something to be said of, you shouldn't be happy in the body you have. You should always strive to be better. I'm not saying you should be depressed or angry at yourself, but it's something where it's a lost art, real self-improvement, not manipulating your mind to think you're good just the way you are. Reading books, going to the gym. I digress for now. Now, diving into this deep article, it looks like 3 Philadelphia women, which, of course, I can't help but think it's hilarious in the United States, culturally speaking. There's not like a fat man movement where like people are going out of their way to hold rallies and hold picket signs saying, what about the fat men? I believe it was Lizzo, the morbidly large as in famous and physically. She's a rapper, and she's very proud of the fact that she's morbidly obese, and she actually tried to make a movement of it. Well, there's not much movement, but it's one of those instances where all the men in her videos were jacked and ripped. If she really believed obesity is beautiful, why not have obese men in music videos? She didn't. She had ripped guys with 6-packs and huge pecs. But I digress for the moment. So 3 Philadelphia women have taken the contemporary wave of authenticity a notch higher by organizing Fatcon, a conference tailored for people with a higher than average body mass index, as per reports in the Philadelphia Inquirer. It's the first of its kind in conference that aims to communicate that a significant number of Philadelphians are comfortable with their body size and proud of it. Why? There is an issue. People are always proud of so many things that they shouldn't be proud of. Just existing isn't something you should be proud of. Going through a challenge is something to be proud of, but yeah, it looks like Philadelphia has a reputation for the most unhealthy foods. It looks like 68% of adults in Philadelphia are overweight or obese, as are 41% of youths between the ages of 6 and 17. That should be something the United States focuses on. I mean, even politically speak. I was going to say it'd be a smart thing to do politically, but of course, unfortunately nowadays, it's usually politicians don't want to do anything when it comes to helping you out or actually giving you good advice. They just want you to be, dependent on the system, in my opinion. That's why if you go to public schools, they don't teach you about personal financing. They don't really teach you how to be healthy, or I debate how much value there really is these days. That's why I always implore people, if they have the opportunity and they can, private school. Now, it looks like diving into this, it looks like Donella Jagman, Andrea Ray, and Keita Harris are the ones pioneering the movement that celebrates body diversity at Fatcon. Now, the organizers are apparently striving to make it a judgment-free zone, offering community a spirit among individuals that can feel overlooked due to their size, unquote. They're never overlooked due to their size. You see them quite clearly. Now, it looks like they also aim to provide an alternative perspective to navigate the world fraught with so-called fat phobia, which, the United States especially, I don't really see where you see fat phobia. That's probably a clumsy group of words to say I don't see, you see. We all see for ice cream, which is part of the fact, it's part of the issue. The ice cream too much. But it's one of the instances where the United States, they actually have office chairs. They're over-engineered to take extra weight, and they're wider. You see this at hospitals too with the actual wheelchairs. They're wide. I don't see where the fat phobia really is. Now, when we dive in more, it looks like they'll also have a keynote speaker to address, whose title is, quote, "The Fat Sex Therapist," unquote. Which I suppose that's a good way to perhaps exercise, but that's not what they're talking about. That's not really what they're doing about. Now, they did say that there's a fat-friendly fitness class, which I don't know, why do they have? It seems like a contradiction. They are extremely proud of the way they are, but they also have a fitness class. Why would you have a fitness class if you're happy just the way you are? There should be a fitness class there. There should be someone who is encouraging, saying, "Hey, you can be whatever you want to be if you just put in effort into most things in life. Over time, you will improve." That's what everyone should, in my opinion, that's what everyone should strive for, is to always just go above and beyond, no matter what you do in life, whether you're sweeping floors in a factory or CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Just work like hell and be the best you can be every single day, and your life will get better. Now, it looks like there's going to be a 3-part convention. Oh, geez Louise. They're going to have a annual plus swap. They're going to have a second annual plus swap, which is apparently Philadelphia's largest plus-size clothing swap, founded by Jagman in 2021. And they're saying that they realize they need to have a larger and inclusive event. And this is one of the few times where I know a lot of people in the comments are asking for visuals on the show, and I'm looking at some software where we actually put up pictures. It is perhaps best you do not see these pictures because they're quite, your eyes won't melt like in Indiana Jones, where, they see the Ark of the Covenant and their eyes actually melt. But it's perhaps not that bad, but it is quite concerning. Now, in terms of this cultural event also involving politics, it looks like they're going to have some extra speakers. So they're going to have Sonali, and again, I'm not intentionally butchering any of these names, Sonali Rajwar, who is going to lead the talk on the fat sex therapist, who uses he pronouns. This is according to one of the Instagram posts from the Fatcon's Instagram page, which I thought. So I guess men. Are people? It's hard to say who's welcome. So I guess if you're just big, you can go. Now, it looks like they're actually going to have this is another quote, a super fat, queer, bisexual, non-binary, a super fat, queer, bisexual, non-binary therapist. Wait, what? These are all new terms to me, but that seems counterintuitive or counter. And in person, that's apparently the co-founder of Radical Therapy Center, which specialized in treating sexual trauma, diet trauma, so sexual trauma, diet trauma, racial or immigrant trauma, South Asian family abuse, and fat positivity healthcare. Now, I have certainly immigrant trauma. I guess my family, I should give her a call. Immigrant trauma, what? Well, and diet trauma. That lettuce attacked me, Your Honor. Well, I guess therapist. That iceberg lettuce just came out of nowhere. Now, lettuce is usually garbage, just like a filter. I always recommend spinach, but that's just my diet, personally. But it's also fascinating to see from an American perspective and cultural perspective. If you open up a history book or look at pictures of kids, Americans, even in the 1960s, relatively speaking to now, they were jacked Captain America. I mean, you see playgrounds where kids are on jungle gyms and climbing up things the size of, maybe 2 Hummers. Just climbing up these raw metal structures. Not a care in the world, just working like hell. And now you have kids with their eyeballs glued to the smartphone, which is an issue in and of itself. My 3 cents there. But America used to strive to be the best. I mean, a military mantra used to be, join the military to be all you can be. That's not their mantra anymore. Don't get me wrong, still highly respect the military and those who volunteer for our country. But in the military, they're actually lowering the standards year after year after year the physical standards are getting so small, and Americans can't fight anymore. I mean that both mentally and physically. I believe less than 1% of the U.S. population even qualify to join the military these days, because they're that out of shape. So it was one of the few times where I almost don't think it'd be, metaphorically speaking, to be a national security issue, because it would be the easiest time to invade the United States. The only savior or reason they don't is, thankfully, the United States is one of the most armed populaces in the world. And actually, a Japanese general during World War II, when asked why they don't invade the U.S., he famously and prolifically said, quote, "It's because there would be a gun behind every blade of grass," unquote. Something to think about. And we also have the military industry. And the U.S. defense contractors are pretty much have the best scientists on the planet in terms of aerospace research development and actual pumping out the pretty much Tony Stark-like products. So there are a couple reasons why the U.S. is safe from invasion, but from physically speaking, it's one of those things where, what happened? Is it just too much acceptance of everything where you can't, people don't even try anymore because people accept them just the way they are? And I'm not saying, I know Bill Burr famously, prolifically actually is a fan of fat shaming, and his fans have actually improved their lives because of it. Many of them actually write to him saying, hey, you made me, because some people, in terms of motivation, and I think this works especially with men, especially, you see this in football coaches and other sports balls teams, they do benefit from tough love, where they tell you, hey, get your ass off the ground, get up there, run that extra mile, go the extra, do that extra thing, get that pigskin across the 40-yard line or whatever the balls go on the sports balls teams. So there are different approaches for different people. But we got to the point where it's almost like everyone's acquiesced to mediocrity. No longer do people want to stay after 5:01 p.m. on a Friday to get their job done or get push that career to the next level. No longer do people actually eat healthy foods. And don't get me wrong, the food industry has its issues in and of itself. Always read the ingredients on what you're eating. And more often than not, if you can't pronounce it, you should probably think twice and maybe search on the internet what on earth it is. But I really do hope from a cultural perspective, more people push back and say, I want to be better. I want to improve myself physically and mentally. I want to read a book, climb a mountain, or at least maybe just walk upstairs instead of taking the elevator. It's something that everyone can do. Just a little bit of effort every single day adds in the aggregate. Just like saving, so if you're trying to save up for a new car, a new toy, just put away a little bit of money every single day, and eventually that money will grow, and eventually you'll physically get better, and you'll mentally get better. So culturally speaking, I do hope we kind of have a return to the pendulum in the United States to where people do actually want to work like hell and strive to be the best they can be in every way. And something I always implore the people around me to do, just work like hell, and you can do it. More often than not, the person who's most limiting you is the person you see every day in the mirror, which is a cliche quote in and of itself, right? But I digress. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of August, so I'd really appreciate you taking time to click that subscribe button. Also, taking the time to comment and like the video really helps it out. It gets shared more and more. The more engagement we'll have, the more we'll be able to invest in the channel, get better production. I appreciate the feedback especially. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.